I want to take some time with you now to show you how to properly install a passageway lock, okay, a strike, and strike plate. So let's get right to it. The basics are kind of the same. So what are you going to need? You're going to need your utility knife, Phillips head screwdriver, a power drill. Do not use an impact wrench. Don't use an impact wrench, okay? And you're going to want to invest in these, okay? These are what's called a self-centering bit. Now there's different sizes. This happens to be a number 6, this happens to be a number 10. You can see on the end there's, you probably can see the difference in diameter.
It's called a
self-centering drill bit. So what it does, when you have things like hinges and screws going in, okay, when we put the screws in here, we want to make sure they are centered in this position right here. Now for years, I always just took either my really sharp, fine nail set and located that hole. And 90% of the time it was okay, but that other 10% it was off-center. So these have been out now for a number of years. You get them in a 3-pack because they come in a 6, 8, and a 10, and that's based upon the size of the screw. I can't find my 6, but that's okay. All right, they're not that expensive. Self-centering bit. The other thing you're going to need is chisels. Now, I forgot I had this here. I made this box. This is my own personal set of chisels. So I decided, since I've invested probably $100 in chisels, these are buck chisels, by the way, okay, that I want to make sure they're well taken care of. And when I'm doing finish work, I got to have a sharp chisel. When I'm framing and have to gouge things out of the way, I mean, I'm just destroying wood. But in finish carpentry, they have to be sharp, and everybody's been shown how to do that, okay? And everybody in this class has at least done it once, right? Okay, once, the scary sharp system. So when you get a pack, most everything on these least inexpensive doors are already pre-mortised for you, okay? And they're mortised so that this, again, this is inexpensive stuff, basically should just fit right inside here. But before I even go any further, I just want to check, does it sit completely flush? Well, it actually hangs out just a little bit. So what I would do is take my chisel. Now this is just paper. I mean, look how sharp that is. I mean, it's just peeling off right there. But I want it sharp because I don't want to take off more than I need. The goal is, when you put yours in, that's what I'm going to check, is it perfectly flush with this outside? And that's my 3 favorite words. If it's sunk in too far, you screwed up. Okay? This won't be your bag if you can't do this. You take your time. And again, this is just really paper, so you can just take off a little bit at a time. So you're going to work in here, work in here. So when you're all said and done, this sits in perfect. Now, the next question is, which way do I put it in the door? Well, it depends on which way the door shuts, actually. But it's always going to have, I would say the flat side's on the same side as the hinge. Okay? That's how I keep track. Or I just know this has to slide when it goes into door locks. And believe me, a lot of people put them in backwards. Okay? Put them in backwards. Now, they always come with extra accessories because, you know, they're not quite sure, you know, maybe they overboard or did something wrong with your set. So here's an adapter. And what this is for is you may just get a round hole. That's all you get is a round hole. So we have to disassemble that and put this on here. This will fit in that round hole, okay? And this, of course, now, again, this part comes off. Okay, and it's not hard to take apart. Okay, follow the instructions. And this will slip on. Okay? Occasionally I find a door like this. Most of them I've seen just take this plate here. But check for fit. Okay? Most doors, even quality doors, come mortised like this. Okay? Now, if you buy a higher end strike, or excuse me, a doorknob set, instead of rounded, this may be square. Okay? I mean, this is rounded because they have a router bit that has that 3/8 radius, and that's what this radius is right here. But on higher end hardware, okay, this may actually be a 90-degree angle. So now again, you grab your sharp chisel and just take the rounded edges and square them up. Okay? If you have to square off in here, I set the lock in place and I use my knife. And I hold it right against the edge and right against the edge. Okay? And I don't want my knife blade to go across there. But I mark it with my knife. And again, if this was a square strike plate, right? Okay? And then come back and use your chisels and take that part out. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so now I'm going to grab the one that fits here properly. Well, that's a little big. I know that's too big. And so we have this number 8 right here. Okay, now when you're drilling with these type of drills, it goes on the drill index, okay, and you want it on the high speed. So now I'm going to hold this in position, push right here, and drill the hole. Now this one's already been drilled, so I'm not going to drill too deep. Okay, and this is where your bench comes in real handy. It's right there. Now, do I go grab an impact driver and put the screws in? Don't you dare. Okay? The reason is, more than likely, the screws you're going to be putting in are brass. And brass is very soft. Okay? Well, you've already pre-drilled the hole, so it shouldn't have to bust a gut to put it in. I always have a candle in my finish box. The reason is, I take the candle and just rub a little bit of wax on here. It just makes the screw go in that much easier. Okay? All right. So now it's just a matter of using the screwdriver and putting it in. Now, you can call me anything you want, but my boss Ken Creed taught me when we're doing finish work, everything is going to be aligned. And he said, Glenn, when you put these screws in, they're going to be at a perfect 90 degree. Now, he says, is the customer going to notice that? He says, hell no, but I am. The thing is, we want to get these things aligned. It's just that little extra detail that, yeah, the customer may never notice, but it's there. It looks perfect. Now, they should go in easy. If they don't go in easy, these are brass screws. Don't force it. And make sure you have a good screwdriver, okay? These ends get rounded over. So have one screwdriver that you never use anything else for except for hinges. Because I've seen students do it. You know, they come in here and it's not going, and they got a bad screwdriver, so it slips and slips, and then it tears the hell out of the screw. It looks horrible. Okay? And it's sharp. And again, these are the final details that make a difference for a customer. Okay, moving on to the strike plate. Now, I'm pretty sure the holes are already drilled here. Okay? Now, this strike plate should fit, and same thing. It should fit perfectly flush in here. Now, it doesn't. Okay? So what would I do? Well, again, in this case, it's a wider cut. So with that, I would go to a wider chisel. When using the chisel and taking out small amounts, the bevel side goes down. Okay? If I go this direction, the chisel digs into the wood, and I can't control my depth of cut. So I'm going to come in here, but take it down. Okay? Again, perfect is the key. It should be flush. It shouldn't be countersunk. I'm going to go with just a little bit larger drill because these screws are just that much larger in diameter. There you go. Okay. Well, he's working on that. Okay. Now these don't have a privacy lock. These are just a passageway lock. Very What were they, $9? They were the cheapest of the cheap, right? Okay? So, if this is a side of the closet people are going to see, what am I going to do with the screw side? Put it on the back side, right? Does that make sense? Make it look pretty? So, in we go. In we go. This is where it gets just a little convoluted. Now, be careful. Only once did I get these cross-threaded, okay? So I'll make sure it's in there. Come on. Okay, the door rattles. Okay, we don't want rattling doors. Okay, so now, what we're going to be doing, and it's pretty easy on these right here. Right there's a slot I can put my screwdriver in. Okay, and it's the little indent on the strike plate right here. The door rattles. So all I do is come in here, and I'm bending this out a little bit. And you'll see on your own. Okay? So we keep adjusting that. Right, you're going to keep adjusting this little flap right here. I'm sure there's a technical term for it. But most of them I have a nice little slot that your screwdriver fits in. You'll see it when you get your door set. And you just keep adjusting this just until, when you shut the door,